A set of his and hers watches. Well, there are some excellent candidates for this year's final, but who will be named? All will be revealed later on. But for the moment, we're going to head back to Croke Park now, and the extended facilities available in the new stand there. A chance for the GAA authorities and their sponsors to bring the rival counties together for a little bit of post-match hospitality. Jim Carney was there with them.
Like everything else to do with the new look Cork Park, times have changed in the GAA to the point where immediately after the All-Ireland finals, the players can meet each other here upstairs in the premium area of the new stand, mingle and have a chat about the match. And everybody involved believes it's a great idea and that it's in the true spirit of sportsmanship. The Cork celebrations are starting here. And Cork are moving on, of course, to their team hotel, which we'll visit a little later on to catch up with the real party. But first, let's meet Brian Cody, the Kilkenny manager, and some of his players who've kindly agreed to talk to us, though shattered by this second successive All-Ireland final defeat, but characteristically for Kilkenny hurling people, philosophical and taking it on the chin.
It's just desolation, it's like death, it's the way it is, and the Cork players will be no different if they were in that situation, and they have been in that situation before. Sport is just the coolest thing in the world and also the most enjoyable thing in the world, and you know, when you lose, all you can do is take it on the chin. It goes to the territory, the losers' dressing room and the winners' dressing room every year, and one team is going to occupy it. Only two teams get to the All-Ireland final every year. We've done that twice in a row. Unfortunately, we haven't got what we feel, I suppose, we deserve. There is no deserving it because both teams deserve it. So, unfortunately, we're got the cruel fate again this year, and we have to live with that, Jim.
So what can we do? Like, we came up full of enthusiasm to win the game, and we just didn't win it, and we're defeated by a point. And congratulate Cork now and wish them all the best.
Conditions were terrible out there, John. Must be hard to keep your feet.
Conditions were terrible, yeah. It was rough there, and no excuses. Like on the day, it was terrible for Cork as well. And like I suppose maybe if Cork had to lose a bit easier, they're a young team and they're coming up, like, and very hard for the lads to take it 2 years in a row, but I'm sure they'll be back.
You personally made an awful lot of sacrifices, John. You know, farming isn't a 9-to-5, 5-day week occupation. Could you see yourself doing it again?
Well, Jim, this hour is not the hour to be debating that sort of thing. I put in 120% in the hurling this year, and I gave it everything I had, and I hadn't probably enough today, and maybe Brian got the better of me, but like, that's hurling and that's sport. I have a wife and a young family, and I'll go back to on Monday now, and I'll farm away strong again. And I'm proud to be a Kilkenny man, and I'm proud to be a John Locke's man.
Kilkenny is a hurling county, Brian. I think we all in the game love the black and amber. Will it be hard for heads to lift again?
Heads will lift again, Jim. You know, your disappointment goes on, and we live with this. We get up tomorrow morning and we feel twice as bad as we feel now. And the players are the ones you feel for, obviously, because last year they went through it, this year they're going through it again. It's a nightmare, really. Black and amber goes on, and there will be no stopping that. And, you know, next year we'll be there striving away to try and get the same thing and try and turn these around.
Oh, it's a terrible feeling, unreal, like, never felt that night in my life. But hopefully we'll be back again, but that's just terrible.
How did you see the game?
Oh, it was a backs game, like, two of the backs just crowded us out completely in the second half. We got a few balls, which the backs were brilliant, like, and our backs were very good as well. It's just neither forward seemed to click, and they got one or two breaks near the end. Fitness maybe huge. That was it.
Canis, we're set to have the chat we had this night last year too. I hope for your sake we don't have it this night next year, and I'm sure you won't want it either.
Well, yeah, I remember speaking to this time last year. We were really gutted, and we were hoping that we'd be back again the following year, which we were. But unfortunately, we're a losing team again, which is it's not a good sign. You know, it's not. But we'll be back next year again. Hopefully, if we get our act together again.
Well, so then Kilkenny left to suffer the anguish of a second All-Ireland defeat in a row, but no doubt, as Canis Brennan said there, they will regroup and come back firing in all cylinders to perhaps win the first All-Ireland of the new millennium. Well, however, for the moment, the Cup is heading down by the banks of the Lee, sweeping out of Croke Park this evening in the hands of the Cork captain, Mark Landers.
There to see off the newly crowned All-Ireland champions was one of their own, Sonia O'Sullivan, with a special place for baby Ciara.
Here we go again. We're on the road again. We're
to the Burlington Hotel, where the fans were waiting to give a rousing reception to Mark Landers and his victorious team.
Well, not unnaturally, great excitement in the Cork camp this evening, obviously, but, well, before the excitement, there was, of course, the agony. Well, in a match decided by just a single-point margin, there was no room for complacency amongst the Cork supporters at any stage in the day. Our reporter down south, Pascal Sheehy, watched the match with some of them in Blackrock.
It was almost as if life came to a standstill on the streets and suburbs of Cork around 3:30 today, as those who didn't have a ticket decamped to the nearest TV, radio or computer. But at Blackrock GAA Club in Cork there were many anxious, frustrating and angry moments before the final whistle. In the end, everybody was just relieved.
I can't tell you, I have a pain in my head from it now at this stage.
I had my back to it for most of the time, to be honest, but only when Cork were, you know, had the ball and were in the Kilkenny half. Like,
I thought we were losing it in centre field most of the match, but when they brought in Alan Brown, we got on top of them. I made the scores, and fair play to them, we got on top at the end.
The players arrive back in Cork by train at 8 o'clock tomorrow night for a reception at the South Mall end of the Grand Parade. Some, though, just can't wait for tomorrow for the celebrations to begin.
And there'll be plenty of that around Cork tonight, no doubt. OK, next here on the programme, we're going to move to our analysis of this year's All-Ireland final. Tomás McCahey and Pete Finnerty are with me here in studio. Pete, let me start with you. Your broad assessment of this year's final for a start off.
It was disappointing. There was great expectations beforehand and everybody expected a classic. And this morning with the rain, it was never going to be that way because the pitch was in terrible condition. It was very greasy, wet hurleys, things like that, and that's why you had so many poor wides and so many missed opportunities. But having said that, it was still very entertaining. And with 70 minutes gone, we still didn't know who was going to be the 1999 champions. Cork got off to a good start and they dominated the first 15-20 minutes or so. I think Kilkenny seemed to come back into the game and they dominated the game again until probably the Charlie Carter missed goal or pint. And from there on, it was Cork that went all the way to the end. And I'd like to say congratulations to Cork. I was one of the guys that knocked them this morning on the paper. But you have to remember, yes, one of the many yet again. But it's only the opinion of a person. There's nothing vindictive in it. And I, more than anybody else, I'm delighted for Jimmy Barry Murphy and all the hard work he has done, and he had his knockers as well in Cork this year. He did very well with a very young team. Bertie Og Murphy, for all his work at under-21, he has been mentioned all week, and he gave the material to Jimmy Barry. It's a great night for Cork, and I'm absolutely thrilled for them.
Well, Tomás McCahey, we give our congratulations to yourself and to Cork, of course. Henry Shefflin made the point there that it was a defenders' day today. But it's been a defenders' day for Cork all this summer, in fairness. Like, everybody talked about the fast-pacey forwards, but this success has been built on a solid defence.
Yes, as a unit, the six backs I mean, they have been unchanged all year, and most of the changes were in the Cork attack. When you have a settled unit and you have a good defence with a good solid goalkeeper behind you, you're going into the game very, very confident. The key thing this week, everybody spoke about who was going to mark DJ Carey. I think you've got to take your hats off to the Cork selectors. They picked the six backs in the same position that they had all year, left it up to DJ himself, whatever position he wanted to play in, because in the Clare game, DJ played in about 4 positions. But as we see today, I mean, we're going to show a few clips. The Cork defence was excellent at closing down the Kilkenny attack. And this was the key to their win, I thought, this afternoon. Here we see DJ on one of his bursts in the first half. He's been surrounded by Wayne Sherlock, doesn't give an opportunity to get in his puck or to go around and blocks down and the ball is cleared. Again, as the ball breaks here, outside to DJ, there's 2 or 3 Cork defenders around him. Doesn't allow him to get in a clean stroke, and the ball is cleared again. Kilkenny are very dangerous when they get into open possession. Here we see Henry Shefflin again bursting through. Again, Cork defence, 2 or 3, 4 guys around him, and Sean O'Calpine comes in to break up the attack. They never allowed Kilkenny the space today, and it was the launch pad for their victory. OK, the Cork forwards at the end of the game, maybe in the last 15 minutes, put on the scores that the defence deserved, because they certainly put down the marker on Kilkenny and put plenty of possession up to the forwards.
But having said all that, Pete Finnerty, if you look at it, a game that's just been a point in it in the end, I mean, Kilkenny will replay every puck of the ball and every missed opportunity.
Well, they missed a lot of scoring opportunities, and they missed, I think, was 17 wide or something like that. But Cork had a lot of wide as well. But really, Kilkenny were the team that created the goal opportunities, and they created 2 good goal opportunities, and we'll see them here now in a moment. Here we see, this is actually the one that could have stole the match for them. We'll see Andy coming for breaking down through the field again, as he did all day. Gets the ball into Peter Delaney. Peter Delaney tries to burst through, steps back, I think, here, gets the ball, little shot in, yeah, it's blocked down, and DJ, who maybe if he was on song another day, that would have gone into the back of the net and they would have stole the game from Cork at that stage. Here we see, I think this is the opportunity that was missed. This really is a goal opportunity, and had Charlie Carter been on song as well as DJ Watson, or had that been last year, maybe Charlie would have the confidence to go for the goal at that stage. But that to me was the turning point in the game. Had he scored that, it would have put them 1-3 ahead, and maybe a little bit too far for Cork to claw back. But from that, Cork went down, they got 2 points, instead of, it was only 2 points in it now, and suddenly there's only a score in it. And you could see Cork building in confidence, and they were thundering out of defence, and the forwards were getting more confident, and the next thing, Shawnee taps the ball over the bar, and there's a buzz about them again suddenly. 5 minutes before that, you'd say Kilkenny are going to walk away with this if Cork don't pull up their socks. So I think that was the one turning point in the game that I could pick out.
Cork also at this stage, Tomas, were making substitutions, and very inspired substitutions at that.
Yeah, and it's disappointing for the 2 lads that were taken off. I know Mark Landers as captain. He had a busy 3 weeks, torn cartilage injury 3 weeks ago, and he worked very, very hard to get himself fit. But the substitutions worked a gem for Cork today. 20 seconds and he was on the field of play. Alan Brown makes a big impact and gets a wonderful point, and that's to tie the game at 5 points apiece. Again, after this, we saw the introduction of Kevin Murray, and over the last few games, they've made a telling impact when they've come on. They're probably disappointed that they didn't start the game and maybe didn't walk behind the RTN boys band today, but made a big impact when they came on, and that was an excellent point by Kevin Murray out on the far left touchline. So I mean, you've got to give credit to substitutions. I said it all summer, it's no longer a 15-man game. The whole panel, the 25 or 26, are part and parcel of the team, and today the substitutions work for Cork.
Yeah, Pete, you mentioned Shawnee McGrath just a moment ago there. Now, he'd been quiet the first half, and then suddenly blossomed into this game at just a crucial time.
He had been quiet the first day, and I think it was a great tactical move by Jimmy Barry Murphy to leave him on the field. Jimmy made some great decisions today, like the introduction of Alan Brown and Kevin Murray. In the first half, he was moving his half forwards from each one of the half backs, and they didn't know who they were marking, and he created an awful lot of confusion there. And also the move of bringing Timmy McCarthy out to midfield late in the game. He played very well out there. But I think the faith that he showed by leaving Shawnee on the field, like Shawnee wasn't in the game the first half, and here we see him now. He's beginning to buzz at this stage. The next thing, the ball goes over the bar for him, and from there on in, there was something special about Shawnee. The balls were falling short into the goalkeeper's hands. We're now onto the hurley, little jink like we saw all year in the summertime from Shawnee, and straight over the bar. This gives Cork something to aim for up front. And here we see him again, late again in the game. But he's brilliant at this, don't you know? On the end line, he should be cutting it across the middle, but his confidence was so high at that stage, he says, here goes Shawnee, let's go, you were bad in the first half, let's make it for Cork. And that's exactly what he did. And he rewarded Jimmy Barry Murphy, as all the younger players have done for him. Jimmy showed great faith, they showed great loyalty, and they've given him the McCarthy Cup.
Oh, they certainly have done that. OK, our man of the match selection, by the way, coming up later on. But right now, it's time for us to head down the road to the Burlington Hotel, where the Cork team, their families and their well-wishers are ensconced. And with them, and certainly in the right camp tonight, is one Ger Canning.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Right. All right, Jimmy, a fantastic occasion, and it surely beats racing greyhounds.
It's a great day for Cork people, Ger. We've had a long number of years out of the limelight, and I'm delighted for the players. This is a day for the players. They did it for us today, and it's their night.
You put your faith in young players, and they responded magnificently.
Well, a couple of years ago, we had a couple of bad defeats, and I sat down with my fellow selectors, Tom Cashman, Sean Leary, Johnny Crowley, and Fred Sheedy, and we decided there was only one way to go, was to play the young players, work with them, with the experienced players that we had already, and work towards the future of Cork hurling. And I'm glad to say that we were vindicated today.
Credit both teams. It was a very clean game.
Well, Kilkenny were a great county. We've always had tremendous tussles with them over the years. I mean, I know more than most bad days against Kilkenny, but I think our lads did it for us today. They laid a lot of goals to rest today for us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Barry Murphy.
Well, it's a great night for Cork, a great night for Killa. And the captain, Mark Landers. I know you've had trouble with the knee, with a cartilage problem. Well worth all the hard work.
No question about it. This night, 4 weeks, I was blown Tralee General Hospital, lying in the flat of my back. And I suppose, fair play to the selectors that they gave me the benefit of the doubt. I haven't played and haven't trained since last Saturday, and I suppose I owe an awful lot to Jimmy Barry Murphy and his fellow selectors that they gave me the nod on Tuesday night. And I'm just thrilled to have been involved today.
To go up on that podium today and receive the Lee McCarthy Cup on behalf of Killa, the Landers family and the people of Cork must have been something special.
No doubt about it. This is as high as it goes. It doesn't go any higher. As you mentioned, my club, I also mentioned McKilly. I suppose without winning the Cork County Senior Championship last year and the lads in McKilly, I wouldn't have had the honour of being captain of Cork today. But I suppose I'd have to say an awful lot for my family, especially my mother. I suppose my father died when I was 6 years of age. We were 7 in the family, and the eldest was 16 at the time. I think she's done a tremendous job with all of us, and we've all turned out okay.
Well done, Mark Landers, Cork, captain of the All-Ireland winning team.
Here we have one of the unsung heroes, I think, of this particular team up to today. This is Fergal McCormack, the centre forward. You had a storming match. Well done.
Yeah, it was hard work, I suppose. You know, it's been hard all year playing centre forward against such good centre backs. You know, but I suppose I'm in the lucky position that I don't ever have to line out against Brian Corcoran, who is an outstanding centre back. For a centre forward, I think that's one of the worst dreams that you could have. You know, to mark such a man like him, and even the likes of Shawnee McMahon and Pat O'Neill today. These guys they're good centre backs, but in comparison to the man that we have, can't compare.
This must be your proudest moment, I suppose. We can hardly hear ourselves ask questions because there's so much noise and excitement around the place, but this must be your proudest moment.
It is, of course, yeah, it's my proudest moment. It's my proudest moment on a hurling pitch. And I'm from Mallow. I'm delighted to be from Mallow. I've a great crowd up here, say, from my work and my family, and my buddies are up here today. We're going to have a great night and hopefully a great week. We'll be coming back on the train tomorrow, and we'll stop in Mallow. It's always where Cork teams stop. And I hope
you won't be selling too many houses this week.
Mr. Eugene Carey mightn't like to hear that, but
who is Fergal McCormack? Congratulations and well done.
If you're going on holidays to Cork over the next couple of days, I certainly would recommend going to Cloyne, because it's a sea of red and white, and for Donald O'Cusick, a very special moment indeed, because of course you're very closely connected family-wise to the great Christy Ring.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, it's great for a town like Cloyne. You know, anytime you mention Cloyne, it's probably synonymous with Christy Ring, you know, and for me, I'm probably a far out relation, but being any kind of a relation to Christy Ring, you know, it's a thing that I'd find the thing you should boast about, you know.
I know that your grandmother is a first cousin of Christy Ring, and I think she's 87, and I don't think she was able to watch the match today.
No, I remember my grandmother and my own mother at home on about the Waterford game, and they were listening away to the game, grand and happy, you know. There was no goal scored, and then Paul Flynn got a goal, and all the radios and televisions were turned off in the house straight away, and, you know, and there was no more heard about it until we came home, and still they wouldn't believe that we won, you know. But as I said, you know, it's great for everyone in Cloyne, you know. I left home in Cloyne yesterday, and I was probably trying to keep it as low-key as possible, but there must have been a couple of hundred people in the village, you know, wishing me good luck, and to be honest, it's the people of Cloyne who give me the confidence to play with Cork.
But whatever about the going away, don't look, I'd imagine the welcome home will be something special. Donald Cusick, Cork goalkeeper from Clyde. Back to Michael.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed. Marty will be back there a little bit later on again. Well, obviously the Cork players and their supporters in great form in the Burlington Hotel here in Dublin. But what's the form like down in Cork? Well, we're going to find out right now because we're going to join live our reporter down there, Pascal Sheehy. He is in Washington Street. Good evening to you, Pascal.
Yes.
What's the form like and the mood in Cork?
Yes, indeed, Michael. Well, you're not going to believe this because Cork City and County appears to have been, or to be in a state of shock. Now, the last time we were speaking to you, we were in the Black Rock Hurling Club, of course. Since then, both the crew and myself have been out to Killa in East Cork and Middleton, two hurling strongholds, but the party doesn't seem to have started off there yet. So we're back in here in Washington Street in Cork City Centre, and this is where it's at for the next few hours. So I think we should head back to studio. This is where the party is going to be.
Well, he might have started out on his own, but he found a few friends very, very quickly indeed. OK, let's go back again to the Burlington Hotel and rejoin our crew down there.
That's what you get, I suppose, doing live television from Patrick Street. But Patrick Street has moved here to the Burlington for the night, and Shawnee McGrath, one of the quieter lads in the Cork team, is here with me. It's not your first time officiating in Croke Park. You were a steward here a few years ago. Were you a success at that job?
Yeah, I did a good job that day. I knew going into it that it would be hard, you know. So I took it upon myself to perform well. I think I actually held the rope that day to keep the photographers back, you know. It was a weird kind of a day. It was a different day for me today, you know.
Absolutely. Now, Little Bird was telling me about your hair. What is this story about your hair?
Some claim I'm using Just for Men, but no, I'm not. I'm using Grecian 2000. Because I'm worth it.
I heard you as I was coming back from the match today talking about the size of your hurley. It's a small stick, apparently.
Size of my...
The size of your hurley. You certainly made the most of it today. Some exquisite scores. That one out in the corner, that was tremendous.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, the first half didn't go well. I definitely should have got a couple of scores. But it's great, and All-Ireland final is a dream to get 3 points. It's a dream for me, you know. I was delighted. I really was delighted, Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, the usual very quiet Shawnee McGrath. Well done.
Indeed, one man who was very busy today in the Cork defence, marking 3 different players, Henry Shefflin, DJ Carey, and for a moment, I believe, PJ Delaney. A great defensive performance today, Diarmuid O'Sullivan.
Well, I suppose that's right, Marty. You know, I ended up marking 3 fellas at the end, you know, but at the end of the day, it was a defensive performance. You know, it was something we worked on all year from Donald out to Sean Og. You know, it's just constant work. You know, it's something Johnny Crowley and Tom Cash have drilled into us. You know, that every time there's a Cork man in trouble, we have to back him up. You know, and that's what we work well at doing.
It was a great test of character, which he passed with honours indeed today, wasn't it?
Well, I suppose, you know, when we started to struggle for a time in the start of the second half, you know, I suppose where we've won our last 3 games, you know, the last 10 minutes, we knew if we could get back into the game, you know, we had that fitness level in us, you know, to take us right to the end.
It's a bit early, a bit premature to ask, particularly since you've only just won the All-Ireland, but the millennium, will Cork be there?
Well, we're young, Marty, and we're hopeful, you know, so who knows?
Well, Diarmuid O'Sullivan from Clyde, congratulations. Cork full back, the All-Ireland winning team.
Yeah, great atmosphere down there. Well done to them. Shawnee McGrath, kind of person you want to be careful what questions you pick before you speak to that man. OK, let's not forget, of course, that today was also a huge occasion for the minors of Galway and Tipperary. Tip went into the big game with a team brimming with talent, but Galway, on their way to the final, had beaten Clare and Kilkenny and therefore were not to be discounted. Highlights now from Micheál O'Shea.
Go híisiige. Dádan a thuid an chéad scóid ón Kelly. Dhéanamh slí go hen. Gúmpú timpeall agus a chéad scóige ón Kelly. Go habra Dádan. Mar sin iad cóharach. Bhfuil isteach lá slí. Son ó Hobrador nach Mehebu agus Michael Coughlin Gadas. Stefan Sugadi. David Ford, chance ag David. Calnard, Bwilte ag David, ag a score. Bwilte ag David. Rúling dymo a Lord Poitge. Hasta Gadas yn son agus Anna Ruhar gynt ag Damien Hayes. Damien Hayes yn o'n Sugadi. Richie Murray agus Richie Harris y Drasnawn. Richie Murray raimsig ag Damien Hayes ag yn Ruhar. Agus ag yn vertical Anna Hostel sin Anna Choimer did Richie agus Murray. Hasta ag glótig an ógánach yn son. Rúpuriski. Stefan Sugadi. Richie Murray. Richie Balewlesh. Richie Stach. Glótig as Anna pointed son ag Richie Murray. Por sé count Dasso Hien of Homa, agus a countson Anna yes. Markadi Liam Carney. Sparrow in countson a Swedish Dachkadis that to hit. Dermot Gleeson. Agus a Wish Dachanish own Brislane. Wiltige own, agus Wiltige Mahage own. On the way, the thing, countson a Pascal or Hobradon. Own Brislane, Queen to Dassamson, Marshin. Kirikeen after a Queen Dierich Femmer V. Egleham. Wayne after Stackedy, Dermot Gleeson, Fakta Mahage, Dermot and Baltison. Wilta Mahage, Tom King. And Lord Porker, Sarah Higamahanson. Again, Michael John Quinn. Fakta Harnashiga, Tom King. Agus Wiltiga Tom, agus Wiltiga Harris at Raston. Richie Murray. Johan Ritchie, Hadema Lohik, Canada Heimer Ritchie, and Weishen Scorsa, Bishop Billy Hamarahan, the Mickey, Wilte, Ritchie, as Wilte, Ritchie, come on.
John Culkin, the Galway captain, accepting the cup there on behalf of Galway and Abinach Moy. Well, I suppose with the recent disappointments at senior level, I'm sure that minor victory will be taken by Galway fans as an encouraging sign that good times, perhaps, are ahead again. Well done to them. Well, moving on though, we of course must still go back to the Burlington Hotel to see who the man of the match is. But first, let's take a moment to identify the face in the crowd. And this is our winner from this week. Not much consolation, I suppose, what with Kilkenny's defeat, but at least there is something in it for this particular supporter. Now, what we want from him is some proof of identity, and it is